Hi, my name is Leslie Gossett and welcome to Leslie's List. Today we are here in the South Congress neighborhood, located south of Barton Springs, east of Lamar, and west of 35. Today we are here with the fabulous Nak Armstrong. Nak, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to just jump in and ask you a little bit about how you got here. I know you have an architectural background, and I want to know what happened in the course of your life to lead you here to designing fine jewelry.
When I graduated from school here at UT, I went first into the fashion business in New York, and that just sort of happened randomly because I started doing textile design and I was offered a job there. And so for a few years worked in New York, and then when I was ready to sort of start my own company, I didn't really have the money in New York to start it, so I came back to Austin and then originally got started in textiles, so not in jewelry at all. And we had some friends that were doing jewelry, and I kind of started paying attention to it at that point and realized that there wasn't a whole lot that I was that fascinated by, and I thought there was an opportunity. So that's when I decided I'd kind of go in that direction, and that was 1998.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so have you always had a passion for design from as far as you can remember?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, the first time I really remember getting into design was in high school. And then I remember there was a contest to design the school flag.
Oh, wow.
And so that was kind of the first thing I did, and I got I won the design award for that. So it was from there. I got the bug.
That's awesome. And your designs are so unique. Where do you draw inspiration from?
Well, I think having worked in architecture, or not worked in architecture, but been in school for it, and then worked in the fashion world, I kind of brought those influences forward into jewelry design. Mm-hmm. In particular, I think with clothing, I was trying to kind of recreate the movement that I saw in clothing and jewelry. Especially at the time when I started, I felt like a lot of the jewelry that I saw was very kind of static and interesting and didn't really move with your body. And so that was sort of the first inspiration. And ever since, I think I've been kind of obsessed with how do I capture kind of the ruffling or ruching of fabric in jewelry. And then I always have taken a lot of inspiration from nature and architecture. So, from a lot of different sources, really.
That makes sense. And your jewelry does have this natural movement. I'm wearing these beautiful earrings of yours, and they just kind of flow with you, and they're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the process and the creative process from kind of start to finish.
Well, I think having been in the other disciplines, I sort of always like to start with a sketch. And I think that's a little bit different than a lot of jewelers, where a lot of jewelers will go and find the materials, find the stones they like, and then design around them. We're very unique in that I will sketch something including the stones, so that I'm actually creating our own proprietary stone cuts. And so then we're going soup to nuts, cutting our own stones to fit the design. That sketch then goes to, I work with a CAD designer who then puts it into a CAD form, because we're typically 3D printing that, creating a mold, casting it, and so then oftentimes there's a lot of back and forth in the development process. I have somebody that works in New York for me that helps me develop the jewelry, and then that's where we manufacture it.
Got it. That's awesome. So about how long does it take from start to finish when you have an initial design concept?
That varies a lot. But assuming that there's nothing kind of standing in the way of moving forward with a design, it can sometimes take 3-4 weeks, and sometimes it can take 3 months, depending on what we're doing. And of course, then I'm also having to bring all the materials together, which can take time. So a lot of times the design process is quicker. It's just getting all the materials together to make it happen.
Right. So tell me, you are the proud recipient of a CFDA award, I think one of the only in Texas that I'm aware of. Can you tell us what that means for those that aren't familiar with the CFDA award?
Sure. The CFDA stands for Council of Fashion Designers of America, and every year they give out that award to Women's Wear Designer of the Year, Men's Wear Designer of the Year. They have an accessory award every year as well. And I won it for actually the Swarovski Perry Ellis emerging talent designer. It's sort of like the best new artist in the Grammys, for example. And so it was quite an honor. It's all of our peers in the industry, and it's given out once a year in New York. You know, it's very rare for somebody outside of New York to win. It's even more rare for a jeweler to win, because it's usually, even in accessories, it's usually a handbag designer or a shoe designer. So that was quite an honor.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm actually wearing one of my favorite pairs of your earrings. Can you talk a little bit about this particular collection and the inspiration behind it?
Absolutely. About a year ago, we released a new division of the brand called Nak Armstrong, and that's one of the pieces from that collection. And it's really designed to be sort of fun, fashion-driven, accessible to a broader audience. And those ones that you're wearing are called the Marabou earrings, and they're green onyx, and they use this cut that we're using a lot in the card, which is the half moon, to kind of create these geometric fluid designs. So yeah, I love that piece too.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love the color selection with this collection too. They're very unique and very vibrant.
Thank you. Yeah, this collection's all about color, and it really was an opportunity for us to do a broad range of color through all the different styles. So yeah.
Yeah, they're great. And I want to talk about this beautiful new space of yours. How long did it take to for this to kind of come together?
A long time. It actually was 3 years in the making.
Oh, wow.
We signed the lease a little over 3 years ago when we first heard about this development, which was really what we felt like the only kind of true development that would work for our brand. It's Soho House is the anchor for the center, and we actually are sharing a wall with them. And yeah, we spent a long time with the design process. We worked with some really great local artisans. Everything in this space was made by a local artisan or tradesman, and you know, it was really meant to be a visual articulation of the brand, showing what we're about in terms of color and texture and even shape. When you first come in the store, there's a mosaic floor that kind of
it's gorgeous.
Has that sort of geometric stone cuts that we use in our jewelry, and it's all hand cut. We had a very unique sort of challenge here, in that we have windows in front and back, and so. And we needed to put some, you know, a restroom, a kitchenette, there's like a little bar, and where would we put it in the space? That became the big dilemma. And so we created a sort of pod that floats in the center of the room, and it's covered in velvet, and you know, it was really about luxury, texture, color, and bringing something kind of new to Austin.
It is new, and it feels like you're at home between this kind of high-end carpet and the natural light and your selection for drapes. It just feels approachable and in an environment that you want to spend time in, which I think you all nailed it.
Yeah, we really wanted something that felt like a residence. I think retail has changed dramatically, in that people really want an experience. They want to feel like it's home to them. They can be there for a while. When you're selling something like jewelry, and especially high-end jewelry, people need time. They need time to select and to feel comfortable. And so we wanted a space where people didn't feel like, you know, they had to leave right away, that they could really get comfortable and take time. And so, and the other thing too that's very unique about the space is that we're on the same side as the client. We're not behind a counter.
Right.
We're working with them together. Yeah. So that was also part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feeling.
So Nak, you mentioned that the design of the space is such that the consumer, that you're working kind of alongside the consumer, not behind a counter or a desk or anything, so that the consumer and your buyers feel comfortable. And I've always felt that in here, and I think that there's an energy, a natural flow in the people that I ask to be on Leslie's list, and I felt that with you, and it's always been so comfortable coming into your space and being able to work alongside you. I'd love to end the interview by asking, what are some of the words you live by?
Well, you know, I think given what I do, and that the things that we make take a really long time to make, and it takes a lot of attention and care and sort of a lot of love goes into what we do. I've kind of always lived by slow and steady wins the race. You really have to take your time, do things the right way, not be in a rush. And you know, it's part of the process of making the jewelry. It's also part of the process of selling the jewelry and working with our clients. It's all about relationships, and it's all about, you know, taking the time to give them information about the product and really make them feel comfortable with their purchase.
I love that, and I couldn't agree more. I think that shows through in your designs and in your pieces. So
thank you.
We are lucky. Austin is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
And your work. So
thank you.
It's a nice, great.
It's a
legacy.
great place to live.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for your time, and we'll hope to see you soon. I guess one thing that we can direct our viewers to is, where can they find your work?
Well, starting at our store here on Music Lane, we're in South Congress. It's 1011 South Congress, but then we also sell locally at By George in Austin at both stores, our gold and our Nak collections. And then we sell at Bergdorf Goodman in New York and some other retailers around the world.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.